Hello and good day to you. Today's video, we are designing the use of a solid yarn or colored yarn or self-pattern yarn in making a background design in our Stockinet technique of 12 crafts of machine knitting. For this project, we need a charting software. I'll be using DesignAKnit. If you have a cardigan pattern, you can also use that. Only that we need to elongate we have to make the length of the cardigan pattern longer. We'll also be using a technique of short rows in this technique of short rows in making this design. The knitting machine we'll be using is the DAK 150 knitting machine, and it's not the extended bed. When it's in the practical aspect, I'll tell you what you need to make when we are making the practical. For now, let's just design the garment. I'm using DesignAKnit version 8. I'm using DesignAKnit version 8. I know there is a new version now, version 9, but a lot of people have version 8, and so I'll just speak on version 8. Open the DesignAKnit software. Click on Standard Garment Styling. I'm using the complete version because we'll take it from Standard Garment Styling into Original Pattern Drafting and then into Interactive Knitting. So we'll be using Standard, Original and Interactive for this garment. So click on Standard, click on New Garment, and here we have for us to select the garment type. The gender is female, the wearer is an adult, gender is female, garment type, we're going to take sweater, and sleeve is going to be satin sleeve. Front neck, we'll just make it round. Let's make it round. Then back neck, I'll just leave it as straight. If you want to do any shaping, any slope, we'll do that later, but for now I just want to make easy dress. We're just trying to make beginners create exciting knitwears without having too much stress on it. When you click OK, and we have another new window appearing, and you have to select the knitting method. As I said earlier, I'm using the complete version, and that's why you have hand knitting and you have machine knitting. So make sure you check on machine knitting and click OK. If you're hand knitting, you can click on hand knitting. It's still the same way we are going to design it, but you need to use hand knitting techniques for it. So click on hand knitting, and here we have list of knitting machine. Find the knitting machine you are using. We are using the Silver Reed DAK 150. You can use any knitting machine you have, and then when you see it, just click on OK. Here we have the tension. For now, I'm not going to put on the tension. I'm going to teach how to do the tension from inside. You can do this one now if you want to, but I'm just going to, first of all, here I'm going to talk about the tension die setting or needles. So the tension die from the stitch I did recently, the tension die is tension 3. The tension swatch I did recently using around yarn is tension 3, and the stitch die is 3-2. And note about this, I'm using aran yarn, so I'm going to put it is all this aran yarn. So I'm going to make sure I know the aran yarn, and I'll just leave. Okay, we're going to use so for the base of the gown, we're going to have flared. It's going to have a flared base, and we have yeah, just say flared base. Okay, that's all right. Then now just leave it like that. You can put any note you want to use here, and that's it. So I'll put OK. Well, the ease is going to be classic. I'll put OK. Standard garment size, I'll take a standard one, and I'll just pick on let me pick on this 14. So let me pick on this 14, bust this 14, and I'll just click on OK. Here the bust is 36 inches, and that's 92 centimeters. That's for the chest. The waist is 72, hip, and the dress, we just leave it. The dress size is 14. I'll just leave it at 14. I'll just leave it because this look kind of small so I'll just leave it there. So first we have all these body measurements here. We just need the nape of the garment. So now this is in centimeters. What we need to do is the length of it in centimeters. So if you don't know the length in centimeters, or you have it in inches, because some of us have it in inches, so I'll just click on OK and just leave it like so. Then if you have done that, we'll come back and you go to option, you take your unit of measurement, you decide if you want it in inches or you want it in centimeters. So let's take inches. That's in case you didn't this, they'll go back into the pattern into the measurement and work on it, because I want to talk about some of the icons here in case you are designing it, you have to design it, and then you forgot about you didn't take some measurement. You can come back into the design and put your measurement in. Then click OK. You see this tape measure here that looks like a knitting machine, and someone here when you put on the cursor over it, you say adjust the existing measurement manually. You click on it, and then we have it in inches. So for the first part of the garment, before the skater part of the garment, we're going to put we're going to say it's going to be 36 inches, because we want it to add 36. I'm going to leave the waist the same, shoulders, nape to garment, we've edited it to 36, arm length, armhole, and wrist, I'm going to just leave them together like so, and I'll click on OK. It's still classic. You can see it's very long now. Here we will now have the skater part of it. What next we need to do is come into the tension option again, click on option on the menu tabs up, then click on tension, and here we will insert the tension. You see that what we the notes we put on it is still, they are still there. So now we need to insert our tension. If you have measured in stitches per inch, you will put it there. If you've measured in stitches per rows, you put it in. Some of us measure our tension in inches, and some of us measure in centimeters. So now you see that on this side it says width of 40 stitches in inches. I've measured my width of 40 stitches. When I was doing the swatch, I did it in centimeters. I measured it in centimeters because it's easier to get all those those little rows in centimeters. You can get some figures in there easier than using inches. So now I need to go back again, just close it, go back again, take my unit of measurement and bring it back to centimeters. All you need to know is what you are changing into every time. So here 40 stitches is 19 centimeters 0.2 when we measured it, and height of 60 rows is 19. I'm just going to check and we'll come back. So height of 60 rows is 19, and we'll do same for the cuff, because we want it to really we want it to match. So we just put the same. then we can now click OK. Our garment, but we don't need this welt here. We need to resize this welt on the arm and the neckband, and we need to remove this welt at the base here. So what we're going to do is this vest icon over here, you just click on the vest and the v-neck vest icon here, then you see the welt. You just put 0 there, and to note what the exact part you are in, you will notice there's a red circle around it and you have a line there. So just click on apply and click on OK. You have it gone. Okay, you can click on it if you want body blousing, but we just want a straight gown, so we don't need to do any body blousing. Body blousing is to make it flare out. We don't want that. We're just making it straight. So we have the body straight, shoulder drop. If you want shoulder drop, as I said earlier, but this is just for beginners. We're just going to do something. Then as we progress advanced, we can do it. Although we are doing short rows, I just don't want to confuse beginners with here and there. Okay, so we just do the short rows for only the flared part of it. So we have the armpit seam. If you want to adjust, you can see that anyone you click, you have that circle around it, and you have the line telling you where you need what you are altering. So since we don't want to alter anything there, we'll just leave it there. Okay, then we'll come to the round neck styling. For the garment neck, you come to it, you see the round neck tells you the depth of the neck band you want to use. So we are going to have a buttonhole shoulder opening here. So then the next one I'll do will have a buttonhole in the middle, and something like this same gown but in the middle, that with another stitch pattern. So for now, let's make it easier. So we need our neckband is going to be round 3. Are we in centimeters or are we in this? So 3 centimeters of band is all right for us, but if we want it larger, we can make it larger. So the neck depth and the neck width is all right for us, because we're going to have a buttonhole shoulder opening that we extend, that the full shoulder we have buttons, and that means from here to here we have a kind, we open and enable us to insert our hair through, even if we have a heavy hairstyle, and then we can now button the shoulders and it will all look seamless. Okay, so we don't need to alter anything here. We just click on OK. The sleeve, if you want to alter the cuff of the sleeve, I think the sleeve is too deep because I don't want this cardigan feel. I just want it to have that little effect, so I'm just going to put that on 3. We're just going to make sure that we don't have that cardigan effect. I don't want it in this gown. I want the gown to be looking more as I said, I don't want the cardigan feel. I don't know how to describe it, but I just don't want that cardigan feel to it. I just want it to look just stylish without the cardigan feel. Okay, so we don't need sleeve blousing. We don't want them to skate out. We just want it to be simple fit, and that's all. So click on apply. We adjusted the cuff of the sleeve to be 3. That we just want a thick layer, but it's not going to be how do I call it? Okay, let's put it 3 centimeters. I think I'll make it 1 centimeter. Let's make it 1 centimeter. It don't really mean do we really need it? No, really we don't need it. We don't need that. So I'm going to put 0 cuff, but we'll make an hem on it. We'll make a very thin hem of 4 rows before we knit it, but we don't really need it. So click on OK. We'll put 0 for the cuffs. Let's go with 0 for the cuff. Apply it because we don't want that feel, and we just click on OK. So now we have a nice gown without welts and everything except the neckband, which we desire to put. If we don't want the neckband, we can still remove the neckband. Do we really need the neckband? No, we don't. But if we don't put the neckband, it's going to have a little bit of coil on it. So we can do a very thin neckband instead. but because of the buttonhole, I think we should just leave the neckband. It will just blend well with it. Okay, so let's leave that with the neckband. It will blend well with it. We'll make sure it's not that heavy. So let's take a look at our neckband again, and we see that it's 3 centimeters. I'm just going to hold 3 centimeters and see what it is now. So I'm going to make the neckband a bit 2 centimeters, so that it's a bit 3.3. I'm going to make it 2 centimeters so that it's tiny. So click it. Okay, then we'll go to file, we go to save, and we have a lot of yeah, so I'm just going to create a new folder here, and I'll call it 12 crafts of 12 crafts machine knitting, MK for machine knitting, and I'll call this let me save my file here. Okay, and I'll save and make another folder inside this. I'll click on it, I'll make another folder inside it and say 12 crafts machine knitting again, machine knitting, and then I'll say it's background, so that I'll know, oh, this is where all the 12 crafts they're going to be. So here for the file name, I'll click on it to open it. Then for the file name, I'm going to come in here and call it 12 crafts background. Crafts background. Then I'll click on save. So now that we saved our work, we're going to click on file. We're going to click on sorry. So now that we've saved our work, we're just going to click on original pattern drafting, the icon. That's the second tab on. Just click on it, and here we have our work here. Since we have our work here, what we are going to do is that we are going to make a little bit of shaping at the base here that we skate out to form the flare skirt. So for that, you're going to click on piece, block new piece, and I'm going to call the flare. Click on OK. We can see that it's very large. I'm just going to click on this icon, this to centralize all of them so that you see that. So this is our flared piece. I'm going to put it here. But one thing you need to do before you make a flared piece is after making your flared piece, to measure the garment. So taking our ruler, let's take this ruler to measure a straight line. I'm going to click on this node here on the back side of the garment, or the front side, just the base node, and I'm going to measure it to I need to activate the one I'm going to measure first. Just click on it and it's highlighted white. I need to let me scroll it up so that we see what we're doing. Okay, then you take the node here, the tape measure. You click on this node, one of the node at the base, and then we're going to measure straight to this one, and it tells us that it's 51 centimeter.2. So now we know that that's it. We want the flare, the base of the upper part of the flare that will be attached to this part of the gown to be 51.2. So click back on the ruler to remove the measure line. So now click on we now click back on this piece, the rectangle, the flared piece, and then on this icon on your left we have some rectangles there with some arrows. If you click on the upper one, it tells you the width to fit to the length, and the second one that takes to the one towards the right takes to the width. So click on that one to the width and put in 51.2 centimeters, and you click OK. So if you take it and we just put it close to it, you can see that it fits properly to the base of the gown. We are going to make 2 of these, but just one is enough. Then we can make add these 2 pieces together, just duplicate and make. If you want to knit them at a stretch, then split into 2. That's just put a marking later on and continue, do the front and the back. You are all right with it. Some people like knitting the flared at a stretch, while some want to knit it one part first and the second part first. So we'll do the 2, and when we are knitting, we now decide what we want to do. But in all, you can still increase when you want to increase. All right, so since we have done that, what we need to do is to make sure the length, because this length is 40 centimeters, is going to be it's going to be up to the ground. It's not a wedding gown you're making, so the length we want it to fit the length of 10 centimeters. So I'm just going to put 10 on it. That's like 47. So let me put 8 centimeters. Let's not make it too tall. So just click on OK. That's kind of small. Looks small, right? That's because this is 36 and this is just 10. So we just let me check again my measurement to make sure I'm using the right one before I make something too small. So now we have that's going to be our flare for 10 centimeter in height. Just check again to make sure it is 10. Oh, 8. Okay, let me make it 10. It's not 10 centimeters, it's in centimeters. Okay, I want it in inches. 10 inches. Okay, yeah, that's it. So I'm going to come back here to option, unit of measurement, and come back to inches and turn it to inches. I want them in inches. So I'm going to come and measure the width is going to be now 10 centimeters in inches. Sorry, the height is going to be 10 centimeters in inches. Okay, yes, that's fine. So that's going to be our flare. And in centimeters is let me go back to centimeters so that you see it, because I was working in centimeters. I'm sorry if I'm confusing you, but just because most times I take garment measurement sometimes in inches, sometimes in centimeters. So in centimeters it is 25.4 centimeters, but in inches it's 10 centimeters. So here we have so now what I'm going to do is duplicate this piece. We're going to duplicate it 3 times, but I'll do one after the other. Sorry, twice, but I'll do it one after the other so that I explain what we will do with each. So now we go to we select the piece, we go to piece, and we'll go to duplicate piece. This time we'll call this one the triangle short row. So this is the number of short rows that we are going to do to make the design flared. If you don't put this if you don't put the flare, it's just going to be straight, like a long straight gown, and we don't want that. We said we want it to flared. From the graphics we showed of what we want to design, there is a flare, a kind of peplum, but only at the base of the gown, like a fishtail or turkey skirt or turkey base or whatever is being called. Okay, so here I'm going to bring it here, and I'm going to centralize it because we are going to work on only this part. So come to this minus sign on the icons on the left. Click on the minus sign because we are going to delete some nodes. So when you click on the node, make sure this this vertical mirror is not there, because if you click on the vertical mirror, whatever we do on the left is going to affect that on the right. So make sure it's deactivated. So click on it. If you click on it and you find out that it's whatever you are doing is affecting the right, then you go back to this vertical mirror here and deactivate it. Undo your work, then go back there and deactivate. So I'm just going to click on, and you can see that with that we can even create different shapes. You have So we're going to now click on this one. We have a square back there. We'll click on this and we have a triangle, but this triangle is going to be too long. So sometimes what we need to do first, I'm just going to then go back, deactivate this. You decide how many rows you want to do. If you decide you want to make 20 rows or so, it's going to make this very full and it's neat. If you're not using a light knit like 2-ply or 4-ply, it's going to be very heavy at the base, and it will be pulling the top of the upper part of the gown. So you don't want that. You want that you want it a bit airy, so you want it to flow with the wind. Sometimes just give that little flow. I don't want too much short row here. So 15 rows of short rows will be all right, but let's just check. So what, in case you are designing, so that you don't say, oh, from top of my head or something, no, so that you don't say guesswork or so, so that you can know how to design others too. So here we have the triangle. What we are going to do is just move this node here. We just want to move it a bit closer first before we do a measurement, just to try and see. We want a very thin, like a godet. We want a very thin triangle that will go in between, which we'll do our short row on, and that is going to give us that flare effect in between the rectangle. So in some section of the rectangles, the subsection of the base, we're going to put short rows in. This will give us that flare effect. So to make sure if it's not lining properly, now if it's not lining properly, here it's lining properly, but we want to check. Go to piece, table, and you will see the icon here. So here, number 2, you can see that 1 and 3, they are on the same. Although 1 is 1 on the x-axis, 1 and 3, they are on the same, and you can see you have numbers on the shape here. So you have 1 and you have 3. Then on the y-axis you have positive numbers, although they are the same figures, but we have positive and negative numbers in front of them. But what we want is that 2 don't need to have a 0.0 there, because it's going to make the bottom a bit ragged. So what I'm going to do now is just remove this 0 first. Let me see if I zoom out. Okay, let me so that I'll show you what I'll do. I'll go out of it, then I'll come, can centralize it, then make sure I put the edge, because this is where we need to. If it's not properly lined, it's going to have a ragged edge, but here it is properly lined. But in case it's not properly lined, your work is not properly lined, you are having something like not a straight line, then you come to piece, you come to table, and you can use the grid to fix them. So I'll just put this one on 0. Don't need to do okay, and here you have it. Well, perhaps if we let me just move 1 and you see what I'm talking about. So if we move it like so, this is not what we want. So I'm just going to centralize it again. So this is, you can see how skewed it is at the base, and if you take a look at the bottom here, you can see it's kind of ragged, as if there. So you need to be short row. It's only one part we are going to short row, while the other part remains intact. So what we are going to do is that if you have something like this, because you moved the node and you're struggling to line it properly, and you still have this ragged effect and you're still trying to line it. So what you need to do is even with this line, it still has some ragged effect. You can see how ragged it is here. So you go to piece, you go to table, and you make sure they line properly. So you have minus number 1 and number 3, they are going to be intact together. So that's because I'm just going to, because the tab is open, I have to scroll up. So you have 1 and 3 here. So 1 and 3, they're on a straight line, they have to have the same figure. But 2 and 1, they don't need to really have, they can have positive or negative figure, because positive and negative, because 2, you know, it's at a base and 1 is on top, and we want to slant. This is where the short row takes place in. Also, we have 3 and 2. 3 and 2, it's how do I call it? You need to be on a straight line. So we need so if you just kindly make sure this is adjusted, just put it on 0 and click apply, it's going to go straight back again. It's just going to go straight. It will reset itself and put it straight. So that's what you want, and you click apply and you can click OK. So the next step is that this is how it's going to be, and I'll just take this and just put it here so that you see this is how we're going to place. Let me see if we can centralize it. Okay, so this is our flared, and we're going to, so this is flared base, and here we're going to have the goddess, the flared. We're going to insert into it with short rows. We're going to insert it, so you see how it's going to be. It's going to be straight. But one thing about this design is that you're not going to knit it as you're going to decide how many rows before you start inserting this flared with, and how many flared you want to insert in between. But that's no problem, it can all be taken care of. One other thing you need to note about this design is that you need to know that you are not knitting it straight on the knitting machine like so. So as it is, you are looking at it like so. This is not how we're going to knit it. We're going to rotate it vertically, and then we're going to do, because that is how we're going to knit it. We're not going to knit out low and start reducing needles, because then we'll have another godet here, we have another godet here. So let me duplicate this godet and show you duplicate. So I'll just put godet 2, and let me put it back here. So let me put it that we have godet 1 and godet 2. You can see, and I'm just going to centralize it, just focus on it and let me get it in place. So we have the godet 1 here, so I'll just put this one at the base so that you understand what I'm doing. So you know we have godet 1 and we have godet 2 here. So take it that they are inside this rectangle, they are inside this rectangle like so, this one. Then you have the godet over it. So you have one. You are not going to knit it like this. It will be easier when you rotate it vertically and you knit it. So I'm going to duplicate this part, this one, and call this piece. Let's duplicate it. While I'm duplicating it, some people want to have it as a rectangle for us to understand. So I'm going to call it vertical flare. Okay, the letters, they put a little limited numbers of letters, so I'm just going to click OK, and then we'll rotate it to 90 degrees so that is straight. 90 degrees, so that is straight, and we'll just put it. So this is it, and we'll take one of the godets here, the godet 1. Since we've duplicated it, I'm just going to put this one. So to move, sorry, I didn't explain it. To move, you click on the icon, you click on the rectangle and left click on it to highlight it, then right click on it to move, mouse click. Okay, so we're just going to click on this, right click, and we're going to rotate. So we rotating to this, so we just rotate any angle we start reducing from. You can knit from the left. If you are left-handed, you short row from the left, or you can short row from the right. So what I'm going to do now is to, since you're working, I'm just going to bring Now just need to bring it to the base. Okay, I think this should be enough for us to work. So we need to rotate so what we need to do is we already have a rectangle. We'll come to this rotate button. You can use the left or the right. You're just going to put 270. So let's rotate it 270, and this is what we want it to be. It has to be to fit the base, because we are going to knit vertically, and then we'll start reducing the needles like so. We can adjust this how wide we want the stitch to be. I'm just going to move it up a bit so that you see. We can decide how the numbers of rows, but first we need to make sure we match this. If not, we're going to confuse ourselves. So now we've done that. Some people can short row from the left, while some can short row from the right if they are knitting. So if you have already done this, all you need to do next, if you want to short row from the right, you want it to be on the right side, then you come to alter, come to flip, and when you flip it, it goes to the left, and you are able to do it. So if you do it the alternate way, this is how it's going to be. So this is the pattern. This is what we'll be working on. This is where we showed our work. So I'm just going to put this here. This is where we showed our work, and this is what we are going to be working on. So you can see our triangle still in there. One other thing we need to do is that I'm going to select this vertical one, and first I'm going to I want to make sure I'm using the right name, and this is Godet 2. Okay, we are using vertical this, I think okay, try shot. Okay, so I'll just use the one we rotated is called try shot, and this other one we just left it for the Godet 2. So we'll save our work, file save, because if we open another tab, it's going to prompt us to save, and if we have not saved, if we say we should not save, it will not appear in the interactive knitting. So click on interactive knitting icon here, then where you have the machine and the knitting yarn with wool. Make sure the file you are trying to open is the one we are working on, the background. Click on OK. We're going to go to try shot, because that's what we are working on, and you will see it here. Then click on this arrow that has this double bar here. If you click on it, it will show you that we are doing 23 rows. 23 rows is going to be too much, because in case we want to do maybe like 4 to 5 of it, it's going to be too much for short rows for it. So we might decide that we want to go on 15 instead. So every 10 straight rows we do 15 short rows, 10 straight rows, 15 short rows. So we go back, and before we go back, there's something we need to do. One of the first thing you're going to do, if you have already gotten the measurement for the short row you are going to make, is I'll just centralize it. Sorry, I'll bring it, make it zoom into it. Is to measure this the vertical edge. If you have a swatch that you already have a short row on, and you decided, oh, this is how the length of the short row and the width of we already have the width of how the short row is going to be, but you can make it smaller. So you want to make the width and the length. Then you need this measurement here. You will need this tool here to fit to length. So if you click on it, you can see that the short row is 7.3 in length. It's already fitting to the width of our garment, so there's no problem about this width here. But I'll just show you that the width is fitting to the width is 25.4 centimeters. All we need to do is to alter this length, and to alter the length, you just click on it and insert the length you desire here. and it will automatically fit it. So for me, I've measured mine and I want my to be 5 point so I'm going to make it 5.8. So I'm going to make it 5.8 and then click OK. You see how reduced it is now. So if I put the length back to measure it, it is 5.8. Okay, let's take it back to 7.3 so that you see 7.3. So I'll take it back to 7.3. I'll take it back to 5.8. So 7.3, and I'm going to click OK. It's back to 7.3, of which I'm showing you here. Then I'll click on File, Save. Then let's go to the interactive knitting. And clicking on the interactive knitting, I'm going to click on OK. We'll go to it's still on our try shot. You click on OK. And here you will see that if we go to this arrow here, the upper arrow that has an horizontal bar, it takes us to the last row we are going to knit, and it tells us we are going to knit 23 rows. We are going to knit 23 rows. So we'll go back to original pattern drafting. And we'll come back here and then we'll put our actual measurement. I just want to show you the difference, 5.8 centimeters, and we'll click on OK. Then we'll click on File, Save. We are just altering the length. We just go back to the length. You alter it the measurement you want. Then we'll come back to interactive knitting. Interactive knitting. We select our piece, which is the try shot, and we'll click on OK. So when you click on this arrow that goes up and has an horizontal bar across, you see that we have 18 rows to knit. So you see that we have the exact row we want to use. So let's go back to our work and I'll put it back, centralize it back. You can take it back into the where it's going to be on the horizontal piece, sorry, on the vertical piece, and you see that it fits. Let me do undo back and place it properly. So you see it fits properly. So even if I centralize it, if I zoom into it, you will see it fits properly. Okay, so I'll take it back into and remove it so that we can, there are other methods you can do. If you don't have a measurement yet and you just want to play around and think of how many rows you have, there is the other way of going through. So I'll put it at 7 point, I'll take it back to 7.3. We'll do that other way and we'll come back to this one, 7.3, which is the actual one. And from them, we're going to do the second way of adjusting this short row. The second way of adjusting this short rows is just playing around with the with the nodes. You have to play around with those nodes, like you move it until you have gotten the exact, you just move it a little until you have gotten the exact measurement you want. Then you go, after doing that, you go into interactive knitting and check. So we'll do that. And another way is using some can display it as stitch, and they say I've not learned that way, so I can't explain that way to you. Perhaps somebody will be able to do that. So like stitches and row, let's use instead of centimeters, stitches and row. Some can, I'm sure some can use that. I've not used that before, so but I know you'll be able to count the rows, how many rows you want to knit. But since interactive knitting is doing that for me, there's no need for me going through all those process. But if you have a pattern that tells you, okay, you have to knit 15 rows, you want to see how it is, then you can do that too and see, you can use those stitches and rows. So let's go back to our work and we change we'll alter it back to 5.8. So I'll just demonstrate the second part, and then we'll alter it back to 5.8, which will be the actual measurement for us to use. So taking a look at it, you will see that we have this year the decrease is going to start, and we'll start knitting, pushing all the needles till we decrease up to 1, then we push everything, and then we have our usual row. So we'll start decreasing from here. So clicking, if we get to 15, let's see, let me just see. So we have 13, 14, 15. So 15, then we start decreasing. So you can decide how many when you want to. If 15 is all right and 15 rows they are right, then go back. That's how 15 is going to be. So we just go back to the stitch, and if we want to, we can let's just take the godet out so that we don't alter things. We are using try shots 2, so we can now click on this one here. Since this is the length of how the rows we are going to knit, this will now be the stitches, this will now act as the rows since we've rotated them. So you can bring it a bit down, and you just we're going to file save, we're going to go to piece, and we're going to go to table and check. You can see that it's been 1 and 3 has moved from, I think it was 7.3 or so, minus 7 something, so it has moved to 6.3. Also, you have the alternative of using short shaping method, but I don't want to go into that one. It's easier just using this for a beginner. So just click on file, save, and you go back into this one. You can decide this, and so when you just move, let's say the final row 20, you just need to move a little bit, so come back in here. So that's how you just alternate it little by little. So I'm just going to click on it. Let me centralize it so that you see it well. So we're just going to click on it and just move it a little down. Okay, so that should be. Then I'm going to activate it again. Click on piece, table, and make sure the line up, because you can see we have a kind of racked edge between 1 and 3, and we don't want any, so it should be the same. And we can just go back, click on 7 back, just insert the same number, click on apply, and it will straighten itself up, and you click on OK. So go back, file, save, and you go back into this. Then you can control it. This one you can control it, and you see we have 18. I think 18 is all right, because let's see how many it's going to be when it gets up here. Let's see. So we decrease 6. It's going to will be decreasing 6 stitches. That's kind of much. So then we need 1 row. Okay. 16. Okay. So I just want to see if we can okay, so that's how it's going to be. That's how let me centralize everything. So this is the godet. So every 10 rows you decide how many rows you want to, and how many. You can even put this on paper. You can make sure, while we are taking such measurements, you now make sure that you can try it on paper and see how you want it on any piece of paper, cloth, to see pieces of fabric material, cotton material, so, or lining material. You can, this or paper is can go on for it, so that you can see you cut this out on paper, you put this in, and you see how it's going to flare around. Gum 2 and 4 together, and then you'll be able to see how it is before you commit yourself to knitting it. So here we're going to make 10 rows for, let's check this. I'm just going to check the name. Here it's called vertical flare. So here we have got it, we have vertical flare. So I want to know how many rows of the vertical flare. With that, you can also decide how many of the godet you're going to put in this vertical flare. So let's go to File, Save, and go back into interactive knitting, and we're going to go to vertical flare, and we can now click on this arrow going to the going upwards with a bar, horizontal bar across it, that takes us to the last row. We need to knit 162 rows. So with 162 rows, we can now divide if we want to, and put a flare in between. You can make it equal. That after that, you can make it unequal. You can decide not to make it equal. That's fine. Alternatively, you can also make this a very continuous one. So we want 162 rows of this, and we have 18 rows of godet inside to create our flare. Then if you times it by 2, which means times both numbers by 2, that's this one and this by 2, so because of this it's going to be the front and the back, then you can make a continuous one and be able to achieve, and just make it one continuous full bar of it. Then you don't need to come back, you finish the short row, and when you rotate, when you are altering to make the to pick stitches for the back and the front of the garment, you can just do that at once too. So that's fine. And if you want to make each part, I think we're going to knit one continuous one, because everyone will know how to knit and stop, but some people want to continue and see how it's going to be. I think that so that they'll know when to put the marker to demarcate the front from the back, and in case they need to increase stitches, because sometimes it might even be too tight, because to pick stitches, because you're going to pick stitches and it's going to be too tight. So what you need to do is to maybe do a little bit of increase, knit more stitches, more rows again for your godet, so that you can now pick stitches for the back and front of the for the front or the back of the garment. So it happens like that, and with that you just note it, and you note this, and you can fix it. So I want to say thank you for joining me for this video of using Stockinet. So with that, I want to say thank you for joining me for this video of using Stockinet technique of 12 crafts of machine knitting to knit a background design. So we are going to now progress into the practical part of the video, where we'll do short rows. Start with short row, we'll do short rows, and we'll need this garment in there. Thank you.